everyone, it's Dr. Julie coming to you with another Dr. Julie nudge of encouragement. As we go full force into December and begin to look at rounding the corner towards January and the new year, it seems like this season always brings about a lot of personal reflection and a lot of anticipation and or goals for how you might move forward into the new year. I think that the process of personal growth is so important. I think it's not just important this time of year, but as we walk through the journey of life. But I wanted to pause and do a little bit of nudging and a little bit of hopefully educational input regarding, really just kind of encouraging you to approach any goals that you might have of self-growth in a way that is healthy and ultimately helps you to be more successful and more whole inside as you look towards moving forward. So I want to offer you a couple of thoughts to reflect on. I know that oftentimes there is a dissatisfaction with your current self. And there's almost like this desire to kind of disown or reject or move completely away from your current self, especially if you're in a state that you want to change, or if you just feel like, there's some behaviors or some aspects of yourself that feel uncomfortable or shameful. But whenever we try to disown parts of ourselves, it really is a disservice. Number one, believe it or not, even parts of ourselves that we want to change, all of these parts of ourselves are necessary. They all serve a purpose. And if nothing else, they are a statement for where we're at currently in ourself and in our life. So if you are really wanting to step away from your current self in the sense of like, I need to get rid of this, I need to make a complete change, I'd ask you to rethink that. And instead think about how can I revise, how can I work on realigning myself to how and who I truly want to be. What are aspects of myself that I need to change? But let me do it in a way that I'm not going to be harsh or abruptly state that I am going to be rejecting or disowning this current part of myself. Because again, we all need all parts of ourself to really be completely whole and to have integrity of self. Now, another thing that I hear from people is, I want to get back to my former self. I want to get back to the way that I used to be. And while there are some positive parts of that mentality, remembering a time in your life when you felt better, when maybe you were more aligned with who you currently are or really are inside, it kind of brings us to this state of, again, like wanting to go back in time as opposed to wanting to go forward in time. It kind of is dishonoring of your current self. And when you think about it, we never want to go backwards. We want to keep going forward. So if there is a time in your life that you felt better about yourself, what I would encourage you to do is, instead of wanting to kind of reverse and go back in time, I would encourage you to identify aspects of yourself at that point in time and to remember, okay? What did that feel like? What are the aspects of myself that I lived that felt so good? What were the behaviors that I did that were so aligned with my true self? And in remembering that former self, can you bring those qualities forward into your current self? And maybe have that former self actually help this current self that might need to remember that those qualities are still here and might need some help to feel whole again and inspired again, that whatever is going on with you currently actually can be bolstered by the aspects of self that you're remembering from the past that, guess what, are still part of yourself today. You just have to reconnect and maybe realign your life to be more congruous with that self. Okay? So, what am I encouraging or nudging you to do on this Monday? Well, I'm wanting you to rethink this rejection or denial of your current self, even if it's got some shame-based aspects, even if it's got some things that you want to change. I want you to find value in your current state. It's telling you something about yourself. It's honoring your journey up to this point, maybe some pain, maybe some deficiencies that you're currently experiencing, but it is about your current self, and we need all parts of ourself. If you're wanting to change that and there's parts of yourself from the past that you felt better about, that you felt stronger with, remember those parts. And instead of wanting to bring this part backwards into that old self, instead hold this self over here and remember those positive qualities. Bring that forward into your current self and say, how can I realign those parts of myself that felt so good in the past with my current self in the here and now, okay? So that that old self can bolster this current self, and we can go forward together in a way of complete wholeness and strength that is part of your history and part of your current life now, okay? So my nudge of encouragement is to tolerate your current self, respect it, honor it. Remember positive aspects of your former self and join them in the here and now to then realign with who, how, and what you want to be as you consider your emotional and behavioral change journey, and possibly these kinds of January kind of revisions or resolutions that you're probably already thinking about in mid-December. Okay? Don't reject, do remember, and realign and revise so that you can be that better, more empowered version of yourself in the here and now. All right, that is a mid-December Dr. Julie nudge of encouragement. I hope it's helpful as you start to think towards the new year, and always as you are working on your personal, emotional, and behavioral growth. I'm Dr. Julie for Circle of Hope. I look forward to seeing you next week in my Dr. Julie Nudge of Encouragement weekly videos. Take care. Bye-bye.